This is a CF54 power button board replacement. Start off by shutting off your computer if you've not done so already. Remove the battery. Go ahead and flip the computer over. Make sure you have the battery removed, the hard drive caddy removed, and the media dummy removed. Once you have those removed, you can go ahead and start to remove the bottom cover. There's a few screws on the top and then 2 in the back. Once you have all those screws out, just go ahead and lift the cover up and set it to the side for now. Then you can go ahead and start to remove the bottom bezel screws. Also, make sure you get your docking port out of the way, so remove the screws with the docking port cover, lift up the docking port cover, and disconnect your docking port. Be careful with the connector for the docking port. It is fragile. You don't want to bust the connector or the ribbon cable. Double check and make sure you have all the screws removed on the bottom bezel. If the bottom bezel starts coming up, you should have all the screws removed. Then make sure you disconnect the antenna cables and move those out of the way. You will need to disconnect the one ribbon cable because the antenna wires run underneath of it. Again, be careful with the ribbon cable and the connector. Disconnect the antenna wires, move them back out of the way. Also make sure to disconnect the cable for the LED indicator for the battery. Once that's all disconnected and out of the way, you can carefully remove the bottom bezel cover. And then with that done, you can start to remove the power button board. Just carefully remove the tape that's covering the screws, unscrew it, disconnect the connectors, and then lift the board up. Be careful with the connectors, they are fragile. You don't want to put too much force on them when you're trying to take them out. Once you have that off, you can go ahead and get your replacement power button board, sit it in place, go ahead and reconnect the connectors for the power button board, and go ahead and start screwing it back down in place. Again, be careful with the connectors, they are fragile. You don't want to break them or any of the wiring. Just make sure the wires are connections are secure. Make sure it's screwed down well. And then you can go ahead and get your bottom bezel. Make sure your handle's in place first. Tends to fall out when you take the bottom bezel off. Make sure the brackets are in place on it so it works properly. Grab your bottom bezel, feed your antenna wires through, and sit it back into position. Once you have the bottom bezel back in place, you can go ahead and start to reconnect the antenna wires. Feed them through where they normally go. The antenna wire connectors are small. You may need to use a pair of tweezers if you can't get it with your fingers. They are pretty small. Just be careful. You don't want to apply too much force and break the connector. Make sure you've reconnected your Wi-Fi card, and if you have the mobile broadband or a WAN card, make sure that's reconnected as well. Make sure the wires are all tucked in nice and neatly. You can go ahead and reconnect the ribbon cable. Go ahead and put your docking port back on. Again, be careful with the connector, it's fragile, you don't want to break it. Put the docking port cover back on, screw it back down. You can go ahead and put your bottom bezel screws back on. Once you have all those screws back on, put your bottom cover back on, screw it back down. And once you have that screwed back down, you can go ahead and put your hard drive, caddy, your battery, your media drive dummy back in, and you're all done with the repair. If you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, just let us know. You can give us a call at our toll-free number of 877-202-7788, or you can send us an email to our tech support email, which is tech_support@bobjohnson.com.